Hello, fictional. Welcome to the crossover what ifs. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was a pony in Equestria? If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Naruto Uzumaki sprinted through the dense forest, his breath coming in sharp bursts. The setting sun cast long shadows on the ground and the trees rustled with a gentle breeze. He was in hot pursuit of a rogue ninja who had been causing trouble in the Hidden Leaf village. The rogue's chakra signature was faint, but Naruto's instincts and perseverance kept him on track. As he weaved through the trees, Naruto's eyes caught a flicker of movement. He skidded to a halt, narrowing his gaze at a peculiar shimmering light that appeared to be hovering just ahead. It wasn't like anything he'd ever seen before, an ethereal, swirling vortex of colors that seemed to dance and pulse with an otherworldly energy. Is this some kind of jutsu? Naruto muttered to himself, his curiosity piqued. Despite his better judgment, he felt an irresistible pull towards the portal. His heart raced with both excitement and apprehension. He took a cautious step closer, his eyes locked on the mesmerizing phenomenon. The portal seemed to expand and contract, almost as if it were breathing. Naruto hesitated for a moment, then decided to investigate. He reached out a hand, his fingers brushing against the cool, shimmering surface. A sudden powerful surge of energy enveloped him, and before he could react, he was pulled into the portal. The world around him twisted and spun. The familiar forest landscape blurred into a kaleidoscope of colors, and Naruto felt an intense pressure on his entire body. It was as though he were being squeezed through a tight tube, with reality itself warping around him. The sensation was overwhelming, and he closed his eyes, trying to steady himself. When the disorienting rush finally stopped, Naruto found himself lying on the ground. He blinked rapidly, trying to adjust to his new surroundings. The sky above was a bright clear blue, and the air felt different, crisp and tinged with a faint, sweet fragrance. He was no longer in the forest. Instead, he lay in a picturesque meadow, surrounded by rolling hills and vibrant colorful flowers. Naruto sat up, rubbing his eyes in disbelief. Where am I? He wondered aloud. He glanced around, noting the serene landscape and the distant silhouette of a quaint village nestled among the hills. The sight was unlike anything he had ever seen before. He noticed something strange about himself. Looking down, he saw that his body had changed. He was no longer in his usual human form, but had transformed into a unicorn. His coat was a bright shade of orange, and his mane and tail were a vivid blue. Most notably, a cutie mark resembling the nine-tailed seal adorned his flank. His hooves were surprisingly dexterous, and he was able to stand up on his forelegs without much difficulty. "Whoa, what happened to me?" Naruto said, trying to get used to his new form. He tried to use chakra to see if it still worked, and to his surprise, it did. A faint aura of chakra surrounded him as he focused, and he felt a sense of relief. At least some things were still the same. Naruto decided to explore the area, his curiosity getting the better of him. He trotted toward the village in the distance, his new pony gait surprisingly natural. The village appeared to be a peaceful, idyllic place, with colorful houses and ponies going about their daily routines. It looked like something out of a fairy tale. As he approached, he saw a group of ponies gathered around a large table covered with pastries and drinks. They seemed to be celebrating something, and their cheerful voices filled the air. Naruto felt a pang of loneliness, realizing he had no idea where he was or how to get back to his world. His arrival did not go unnoticed. The ponies turned their heads, their eyes widening with a mix of surprise and curiosity. One pony, a lavender unicorn with a starry cutie mark, stepped forward, her expression a mixture of intrigue and concern. Hello. The lavender unicorn said cautiously. "You're not from around here, are you?" Naruto's ears perked up. He was relieved to see someone who might help him. "Yeah, I guess you could say that," he said, trying to sound friendly. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I'm not sure how I got here or where exactly here is." The lavender unicorn's eyes widened further. "Naruto Uzumaki. That's a unique name. I'm Twilight Sparkle, and this is Ponyville. You're in Equestria." "Equestria?" Naruto repeated, trying to wrap his head around the unfamiliar name. "I've never heard of it. Can you help me find a way back home?" Twilight Sparkle's eyes softened with sympathy. "Of course. We'll do our best to help you. Why don't you come with me to the library? I might be able to find some information about this portal and how you got here." Naruto followed Twilight Sparkle, feeling a mix of hope and uncertainty. As they walked through Ponyville, he was struck by the vibrant and whimsical nature of the place. The buildings had a charming fantastical quality, and the ponies he saw seemed friendly and welcoming. They reached a grand library, and Twilight led Naruto inside. The interior was filled with rows of books and scrolls, and Twilight immediately began searching through them. Naruto took a seat, trying to get used to his new form while he waited. Hours passed as Twilight sifted through ancient tomes and magical texts. Finally, she turned to Naruto with a thoughtful expression. I found some information about portals and dimensional travel, but it's not very clear. It seems that such occurrences are rare and usually require specific conditions to happen. Naruto felt a mix of frustration and relief. So, there's a chance I might be stuck here for a while. Twilight nodded sympathetically. It's possible. But don't worry, we'll keep searching for a solution. In the meantime, you're welcome to stay here and get to know Equestria. Naruto looked around the library, feeling a bit more at ease. Though he was far from home, the prospect of making new friends and finding a way back was comforting. Thanks, Twilight. I appreciate your help. As Naruto settled into his new environment, he couldn't shake the feeling that this strange, magical world held more surprises in store. Little did he know that his journey in Equestria was just beginning, and the adventures that awaited him would challenge him in ways he never imagined. And so, in the heart of Ponyville, Naruto began his unexpected adventure, filled with the promise of new friendships, magical discoveries, and the hope of finding a way back to his own world. Naruto spent the night in Twilight Sparkle's library, the walls lined with books offering a comforting sense of familiarity in this unfamiliar world. The library itself was warm and inviting, with soft lighting and the scent of old parchment filling the air. Despite the strange circumstances, Naruto found it oddly soothing. The next morning, Twilight Sparkle greeted him with a fresh pot of tea and a warm smile. Good morning, Naruto. How did you sleep? Naruto stretched, feeling surprisingly rested despite the newness of his situation. Morning, Twilight. I slept pretty well, thanks. So, what's the plan for today? Twilight's expression brightened. I thought we could introduce you to the rest of Ponyville. It's important for you to get familiar with your surroundings, and it will help you feel more at home. Plus, meeting my friends will be a great way to learn about Equestria. Naruto nodded enthusiastically. Sounds good. I'm ready to meet more of these ponies. Twilight led Naruto through the streets of Ponyville, the town bustling with activity. The ponies went about their daily routines, and their vibrant colors and cheerful demeanor added to the town's charm. Naruto's new unicorn form drew a fair bit of curiosity, but most ponies seemed friendly and curious rather than alarmed. Their first stop was a cozy bakery, where the smell of freshly baked goods wafted through the air. Twilight pushed open the door, and a bell chimed softly. Inside, a pink pony with a fluffy mane and a perpetual smile stood behind the counter. Hi Pinkie Pie. Twilight called out. The pink pony Pinkie Pie turned and her eyes widened with excitement. Twilight. And who's this? She bounced over to Naruto, her enthusiasm palpable. This is Naruto Uzumaki, Twilight explained. Naruto, this is Pinkie Pie. She's our resident party planner and baker extraordinaire. Pinkie Pie's eyes sparkled with curiosity. Wow, a unicorn from another world. This is so exciting. Do you like parties? Because I throw the best parties in all of Ponyville. Naruto chuckled, a little taken aback by Pinkie's energy. I've never been to a party like that before, but it sounds fun. Pinkie Pie beamed. Awesome. I'll make sure to throw you a welcome party once we get everything sorted out. As they left the bakery, Twilight led Naruto to a large apple orchard on the outskirts of town. Here, a strong orange pony with a cowboy hat was bucking apples from the trees with impressive precision. Hey Applejack. Twilight called out. The orange pony looked up, wiping sweat from her brow. Howdy Twilight. Who's your friend? This is Naruto Uzumaki, Twilight introduced. He's new here and could use some help getting acquainted with Ponyville. Applejack extended a hoof in greeting. Nice to meet ya, Naruto. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask. I'm the one to talk to if you need help with anything apple related or if you just need a friendly face. Thanks, Applejack, Naruto said, shaking her hoof. I appreciate the offer. From there, Twilight guided Naruto to a boutique where a unicorn with a pristine white coat and a stylish purple mane was working on a new outfit. Rarity. Twilight called, stepping inside. Rarity looked up from her work, her eyes narrowing in curiosity before widening in surprise. Oh my stars, Twilight. And who might this be? This is Naruto Uzumaki, Twilight introduced. He's new to Ponyville and could use a little help settling in. Rarity's eyes sparkled with interest. How wonderful. A new unicorn in town. I must say, your mane is quite unique, darling. Do come in and let me give you a proper introduction to fashion in Equestria. Naruto followed Rarity inside the boutique where she began to excitedly discuss fashion and style. Though he didn't fully understand all the terminology, he enjoyed her enthusiasm and the chance to see yet another side of Ponyville. Finally, Twilight led Naruto to a serene, grassy area near a forested edge of town. Here, a gentle, yellow pony with a pink mane was quietly tending to a group of animals. Fluttershy, Twilight said softly. Fluttershy looked up, her large compassionate eyes meeting Naruto's. She gave a shy smile and waved. Hello Twilight. And hello to you, too. This is Naruto Uzumaki, Twilight said. Naruto, this is Fluttershy. She's amazing with animals and has a heart of gold. Naruto smiled warmly at Fluttershy. Hi Fluttershy. It's nice to meet you. You seem to have a real talent for taking care of these animals. Fluttershy's cheeks turned a soft pink. Oh, thank you. I just love helping them. If you ever need anything, I'm here to assist. As the sun began to set, Twilight and Naruto walked back to the library. The day had been a whirlwind of new faces and experiences, and Naruto was beginning to feel a bit more settled. Thanks for showing me around, Twilight, Naruto said, looking around at the familiar comfort of the library. I really appreciate it. It's a lot to take in, but everyone seems really kind. Twilight smiled warmly. I'm glad you think so. We're all here to help you adjust. If you have any questions or need anything, don't hesitate to ask. Naruto settled into a comfortable spot in the library, feeling a sense of tentative optimism. Equestria was a strange and magical place, but with new friends like Twilight and the rest of the main six, he felt hopeful about his new adventure. Though he missed his own world and the familiar faces there, he was starting to see the value in this unexpected journey and the potential it held. As the evening quieted down, Naruto reflected on his day. The ponies of Ponyville had welcomed him with open hooves, and he was beginning to feel a sense of belonging. His new life in Equestria was just beginning, and he was ready to face whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead. The following morning, Naruto woke to the soft rays of the sun filtering through the library's windows. He stretched, feeling surprisingly at ease despite the bizarre circumstances. Twilight Sparkle was already at work, organizing books and preparing for the day ahead. Good morning, Naruto, Twilight greeted cheerfully. Ready for another day of exploring? Naruto yawned and nodded, eager to continue learning about this new world. Definitely. What's on the agenda today? Twilight's eyes sparkled with excitement. I thought we could explore more of Ponyville and get to know the town better. Also, I'd like to introduce you to some of the magical aspects of Equestria. Understanding how magic works here might be useful for you. Naruto followed Twilight as they ventured out into Ponyville once more. The town was vibrant and lively, with ponies bustling about, going on errands and enjoying their day. Twilight led Naruto to a large open area where a group of ponies was gathered around a stage set up for a magical demonstration. This is where we have our regular magic shows, Twilight explained. Today's demonstration is focused on different types of magic used by unicorns. They found seats among the crowd just as the show was about to start. A unicorn with a shimmering blue coat and a silver mane took the stage, performing impressive spells with ease. The audience watched in awe as the magician conjured illusions, transformed objects, and manipulated light. Naruto was fascinated by the performance. So, magic here is really diverse. Is it something every unicorn can do? Twilight nodded. Yes, but the level of skill varies from pony to pony. Some unicorns specialize in specific types of magic, while others, like me, focus on a broad range. You might find that your ninja skills can complement the magic here in interesting ways. After the show, Twilight led Naruto to a large field on the outskirts of town, where they encountered a group of unicorns practicing their magic. Some were levitating objects, while others were casting spells to create intricate patterns in the air. Here's where ponies practice and refine their magical abilities, Twilight said. Let's see if you'd like to try integrating your chakra with pony magic. Naruto was intrigued. Alright, let's give it a shot. Twilight guided Naruto through a series of basic magical exercises, showing him how to focus his chakra in conjunction with magical spells. Naruto experimented with creating simple light spells and manipulating objects using his chakra. While the results were sometimes a bit unpredictable, he found that the combination of ninja techniques and pony magic led to some fascinating effects. This is incredible. Naruto exclaimed, his eyes wide with excitement. I never imagined my chakra could work like this. It feels like there are endless possibilities. Twilight smiled, clearly pleased with Naruto's progress. You're doing great. The fusion of chakra and magic is something we haven't explored much, so it's exciting to see what you can do. After their magical practice, Twilight decided to take Naruto to the local park for a more relaxed part of the day. They strolled through the park, where ponies were enjoying picnics, playing games, and simply relaxing. The atmosphere was peaceful, and Naruto felt a sense of calm wash over him. As they walked, Naruto noticed a small, beautiful pond with a wooden bridge arching over it. He approached the pond, gazing at the reflection of the sky and the surrounding greenery. This place is amazing, Naruto said, his voice filled with awe. It's so different from anything I've seen before. Twilight nodded, sitting beside him. Ponyville is special in its own way. It's a place where magic and friendship come together. I'm glad you're starting to see the charm of Equestria. As they enjoyed the serene moment, Twilight's expression turned thoughtful. You know, there's still a lot we don't know about how you arrived here. I'm going to consult some old magical texts and see if I can find any clues. In the meantime, if you have any questions or need anything, just let me know. Naruto felt a surge of gratitude. Thanks, Twilight. I really appreciate all the help you've given me. I'm starting to feel more comfortable here and I'm looking forward to discovering more about this world." Twilight smiled warmly. "I'm glad to hear that. We'll figure out a way to get you back home, but in the meantime, let's make the most of your time here and enjoy everything Equestria has to offer." The rest of the day passed pleasantly, with Naruto and Twilight exploring more of Ponyville. They visited various shops, met more ponies, and even attended a small festival celebrating the changing seasons. Naruto found himself enjoying the simple pleasures of life in Equestria, and he was beginning to see the appeal of this magical world. As evening approached, Twilight and Naruto returned to the library. Twilight had gathered several old tomes and magical artifacts, hoping to find something that could shed light on Naruto's mysterious arrival. Naruto looked at the array of books and artifacts with curiosity. "Do you think we'll find something useful?" Twilight nodded. "I'm optimistic. There are many ancient texts and magical theories that could provide insights. Let's start researching and see if we can uncover any clues." Naruto settled into a comfortable spot, flipping through the ancient texts alongside Twilight. As they pored over the pages, Naruto reflected on his journey so far. Despite the uncertainty and challenges, he was beginning to feel a sense of belonging in Equestria. With Twilight and the other pony support, he felt hopeful about the future. The night grew quiet and the library was filled with the soft rustle of pages turning. Naruto was ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that his adventure in Equestria was just beginning. The following day, Naruto woke to the sound of birds chirping outside. He got up early, eager to continue his exploration of Equestria and the research into how he might return home. Twilight Sparkle was already busy at work, her horn glowing as she levitated several books and magical artifacts. "Good morning, Naruto," Twilight called, glancing up from her work. "I've been going through some old texts and magical records. I think we might be getting closer to finding a solution." Naruto rubbed his eyes and smiled. "That's great to hear. What have you found so far?" Twilight set down a large dusty tome on a nearby table. "I've discovered some interesting information about interdimensional travel and magical anomalies. It seems there are ancient spells and artifacts that can create portals between worlds. The key will be finding out which one might have brought you here and how we can reverse it." Naruto's eyes widened with excitement. "That sounds promising. What can I do to help?" Twilight gestured to a pile of scrolls and books. "I could use some extra help sorting through these records and looking for any references to specific spells or artifacts. Every little bit might help us get closer to the answer." Naruto eagerly began to sift through the scrolls, carefully examining each one. The texts were filled with arcane symbols and complex descriptions of magical processes. Although it was a bit overwhelming, Naruto was determined to find something useful. As they worked, Twilight explained more about Equestria's magical history. Equestria has a rich history of magical research and experimentation. Many of our oldest texts come from the time of the ancient unicorns who explored the boundaries of magic. Some of their findings could be relevant to our situation. Hours passed as Naruto and Twilight worked diligently. The library's atmosphere was quiet and focused, with only the occasional rustle of pages and the soft hum of Twilight's magic filling the air. Despite the extensive research, they hadn't yet found a clear answer, but Naruto remained hopeful. Just then, the library door swung open and a familiar face popped in. It was Pinkie Pie, her usual cheerful demeanor brightening the room. "Hi Twilight." "Hi Naruto," Pinkie Pie said, bouncing over to them. "I'm here to remind you that we're having a big party tonight to welcome you properly. It's going to be so much fun." Naruto looked up, his face lighting up with a mix of surprise and gratitude. "A party? That sounds great. I could use a break from all this research." Twilight smiled, clearly pleased by Pinkie's enthusiasm. "Thank you for the reminder, Pinkie. We'll definitely take a break and join in the festivities. It's important to enjoy ourselves, especially with all the work we've been doing." Pinkie Pie clapped her hooves together excitedly. "Yay. I've got everything planned out. There'll be games, music, and lots of delicious food. I hope you're ready to party." Naruto laughed. "I'm definitely looking forward to it. Thanks for organizing this, Pinkie Pie." As Pinkie Pie left to finalize the party preparations, Twilight and Naruto resumed their research with renewed energy. The thought of the upcoming party provided a welcome distraction, and Naruto found himself working faster, fueled by anticipation. Later that evening, the library was transformed into a festive space, decorated with colorful streamers, balloons, and twinkling lights. Ponies from all over Ponyville gathered, filling the room with lively chatter and laughter. Pinkie Pie was in her element, making sure everything was perfect for Naruto's welcome celebration. Naruto mingled with the guests, enjoying the lively atmosphere and the chance to interact with more of Ponyville's residents. He played games, tried various treats, and danced to the lively music. For a while, the worries and uncertainties of his situation faded into the background as he embraced the warmth and friendliness of his new surroundings. Twilight Sparkle approached Naruto with a smile. I'm glad you're having a good time. The party is a great way for you to get to know more ponies and feel more at home. Naruto nodded, clearly enjoying himself. This is amazing, Twilight. I never expected to be welcomed so warmly. It feels like I'm starting to fit in here. As the party continued, Naruto found himself deep in conversation with some of the ponies he had met earlier. He shared stories about his life as a ninja and learned more about Equestria's unique customs and traditions. Fluttershy, who had been quietly observing from a corner, approached Naruto with a shy smile. I hope you're enjoying the party, Naruto. If you need any help or have any questions, just let me know. Thanks, Fluttershy, Naruto replied warmly. I'm having a great time. It's nice to have the chance to get to know everyone better. As the evening wore on, Twilight gathered everyone around for a special announcement. I'm really grateful to all of you for coming out to welcome Naruto. It means a lot to him and to all of us. Here's to new friends and new adventures. The ponies cheered and Naruto raised his glass in a toast. The party continued late into the night, filled with laughter, music, and the joy of newfound friendships. As the celebration finally began to wind down, Naruto felt a deep sense of contentment. The warmth and kindness of the ponies of Ponyville had made him feel more at home, and he was beginning to see Equestria as a place of hope and possibility. Twilight Sparkle walked over, her expression one of satisfaction. I'm glad you enjoyed the party, Naruto. It's important to take breaks and enjoy life, especially when dealing with something as challenging as our search for answers. Naruto nodded, feeling grateful. Thank you, Twilight. The party was just what I needed. I'm ready to tackle the research with renewed energy. As the night drew to a close, Naruto and Twilight returned to the library, ready to continue their quest for a solution to Naruto's dimensional travel. The party had been a welcome respite, but the journey ahead still held many challenges. With the support of his new friends and the determination to find a way back home, Naruto was prepared to face whatever lay ahead in Equestria. The morning after the party, Naruto and Twilight Sparkle awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. The library, though still adorned with leftover party decorations, had a cozy post-celebration feel to it. Twilight, ever the diligent researcher, was already at work, poring over ancient texts and magical artifacts. Naruto joined her at the table, his excitement palpable. How's the research going? Did you find anything new last night? Twilight looked up from a particularly old tome, her eyes bright with curiosity. Actually, yes. I found a reference to a magical artifact called the Eclipse Amulet. According to the text, this amulet has the power to bridge different dimensions. It's an ancient artifact, and there's a chance it might be the key to bringing you back home. Naruto's eyes widened with hope. An artifact that can help me return home? That's incredible. Where do we find it? Twilight flipped through the pages, her expression focused. The text mentions that the Eclipse Amulet is hidden in a place called the Everfree Forest. It's a mysterious and dangerous place, but it's known to house powerful magical artifacts. We'll need to be cautious, but it's our best lead. Naruto nodded, determination evident on his face. Let's go then. I'm ready to face whatever challenges come our way. Twilight smiled, clearly pleased by Naruto's enthusiasm. Alright. I'll gather some supplies, and we'll set out for the Everfree Forest. A short while later, Twilight and Naruto were prepared for their journey. Twilight had packed a few essential items, including a map of the Everfree Forest and some magical provisions. Naruto had equipped himself with his ninja gear, feeling more confident in his abilities. As they left the safety of Ponyville and ventured into the forest, the atmosphere changed dramatically. The Everfree Forest was dense and foreboding, with twisted trees and thick undergrowth, creating a sense of isolation. The air was thick with magical energy, and Naruto could sense that this place was unlike anything he had encountered before. Stay close, Twilight advised. The Everfree Forest can be unpredictable. We need to be on our guard. Naruto followed Twilight closely, his senses alert for any potential dangers. The forest was eerily quiet, with only the occasional rustle of leaves breaking the silence. They navigated through the underbrush, using the map to guide their way. After some time, they came across a clearing where the magical energy seemed to be concentrated. In the center of the clearing was an ancient stone pedestal, covered in intricate runes. Twilight approached the pedestal, her horn glowing as she examined the runes. This must be where the Eclipse Amulet is hidden, Twilight said, her voice filled with awe. These runes are a protective enchantment. We'll need to decipher them to access the artifact. Naruto watched as Twilight carefully worked on translating the runes. He could sense the tension in the air, the magical energy around them growing stronger as Twilight's magic interacted with the pedestal. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the clearing. Naruto and Twilight turned to see a group of shadowy creatures emerging from the forest. They were dark, ethereal beings with glowing eyes and an aura of malevolence. Dark creatures? Twilight exclaimed. We need to defend ourselves. Naruto sprang into action, using his ninja skills to engage the creatures. He moved with swift precision, using his shadow clones to distract and overpower the dark beings. Twilight, meanwhile, used her magic to cast protective spells and weaken the creatures. The battle was intense, but Naruto and Twilight worked well together, their skills complementing each other. Naruto's chakra-enhanced attacks and Twilight's powerful spells created a formidable combination. Despite the challenge, they managed to drive the dark creatures away, their presence dissipating into the shadows. Breathing heavily, Naruto and Twilight regrouped at the pedestal. Twilight's horn was still glowing as she completed the translation of the runes. The protective enchantment is deactivated. We should be able to retrieve the Eclipse amulet now. With a careful touch, Twilight lifted the amulet from the pedestal. It was a beautifully crafted piece, with intricate designs and a central gem that shimmered with a captivating light. The amulet seemed to hum with magical energy. "This is it," Twilight said, her eyes wide with excitement. "The Eclipse amulet. We've found it." Naruto examined the amulet with a sense of awe. "It's incredible. But how do we use it to get me back home?" Twilight studied the amulet closely. The text mentioned that the amulet needs to be activated with a specific incantation. "We'll need to perform a ritual to open a portal to your world." As they prepared to leave the Everfree Forest, Twilight and Naruto discussed the next steps. They needed to find a safe place to perform the ritual and ensure that the amulet's magic was harnessed correctly. Back in Ponyville, Twilight set up a ritual space in the library, clearing out an area and setting up the necessary magical components. Naruto stood by, watching with anticipation. "Are you ready?" Twilight asked, her voice steady but filled with anticipation. Naruto nodded, his determination unwavering. "Ready." Twilight began the ritual, chanting the incantation while holding the Eclipse amulet aloft. The amulet glowed brightly, and a swirling portal began to form before them. The portal was a shimmering vortex of colors, its edges crackling with magical energy. Naruto took a deep breath, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Is this it? Is this the way home?" Twilight nodded, her expression one of hope and encouragement. "Yes. This is your chance to return to your world. I'll be here, ready to help you if you need it." Naruto stepped toward the portal, feeling the pull of the magical energy. He turned to Twilight, gratitude evident in his eyes. "Thank you, Twilight. For everything." Twilight smiled warmly. "It's been an honor to help you, Naruto. I wish you the best of luck in your journey." With one last look at Twilight and Ponyville, Naruto stepped into the portal, feeling a rush of energy as the world around him blurred and shifted. The familiar sensations of travel between dimensions engulfed him, and he braced himself for the journey back to his own world. As the portal closed behind him, Twilight stood in the library, reflecting on the adventure they had shared. She felt a sense of accomplishment and hope, knowing that Naruto had the chance to return home. The journey had been challenging, but it had also forged a strong bond of friendship and discovery. The library fell silent once more, the magical energy of the Eclipse amulet lingering in the air. Twilight gazed at the spot where Naruto had disappeared, hoping that his journey would lead him to where he needed to be. And with that, she turned back to her research, ready for whatever adventures awaited next in the magical world of Equestria. Naruto tumbled through the swirling vortex, feeling as though he was being pulled in every direction at once. The colors and energies around him were a chaotic blur, and he had to focus to keep his thoughts clear. It felt like an eternity before he finally landed with a soft thud on solid ground. He took a moment to collect himself, his surroundings coming into focus. Naruto found himself back in the familiar world of Konoha. The trees, buildings, and landscape were just as he remembered them, though everything seemed oddly still and quiet. "I'm back," Naruto muttered to himself, a sense of relief and disbelief washing over him. He looked around, eager to see if anything had changed. As he made his way through the village, Naruto noticed something peculiar. The streets were empty, and the usual hustle and bustle of Konoha seemed to be missing. It was eerily silent, with not a single person in sight. "Hello? Is anyone here?" Naruto called out, his voice echoing through the deserted streets. There was no response. Naruto's heart began to race. He quickened his pace, heading toward the Hokage's office. If anyone knew what was going on, it would be Hokage-sama. When he reached the Hokage's office, he found the door ajar. He pushed it open and stepped inside, only to be met with an even more unsettling sight. The office was in disarray, papers scattered across the floor and furniture askew. It was as if the office had been abandoned in a hurry. "Naruto? Is that you?" A voice called out from the shadows. Naruto turned to see a familiar figure stepping into the light. Sakura Haruno. She looked just as bewildered as he felt. "Sakura? What's going on? Why is everyone gone?" Sakura's eyes were filled with concern. "Naruto, thank goodness you're back. We've been trying to find you. You disappeared for what felt like weeks. There's been a lot of confusion and panic since then. We're trying to figure out what happened." Naruto's expression was a mix of relief and worry. "I was in another world, Equestria. I had to find a way to get back here. But why is Konoha so quiet? Where is everyone? Sakura shook her head, her worry deepening. We don't know. Some strange magical disturbances started happening after you vanished. The villagers began disappearing and the village fell into chaos. We're trying to investigate, but it's been difficult. Naruto's mind raced as he tried to piece together the situation. Could the disturbances be connected to my travel between worlds? I was looking for a way to get back home, and maybe the magic involved caused these problems. Sakura nodded thoughtfully. It's possible. The magical energy you encountered might have created a ripple effect here. We need to find a way to restore balance and bring everyone back. Naruto and Sakura decided to investigate the magical disturbances together. They gathered their friends and allies, including Sasuke and Kakashi, to discuss the situation and devise a plan. The group met in the Hokage's office, working to understand the nature of the disturbances and how to reverse them. Welcome back, Naruto, Kakashi said with a nod. It seems we have a lot to catch up on. The situation here is indeed troubling. Naruto looked around at his friends, feeling a mix of gratitude and determination. Thanks for coming together on this. We need to find out what's causing the disturbances and fix it. I'm sure it's connected to the magic I encountered in Equestria. Sasuke, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. We should start by examining any magical anomalies or disturbances in the area. We need to gather more information and determine if there's a specific source. The group set out to investigate various locations around the village, searching for signs of magical activity or unusual occurrences. They discovered traces of powerful magical energy scattered throughout Konoha, suggesting that something significant had disrupted the balance. As they continued their search, Naruto couldn't help but think about Twilight Sparkle and the others he had met in Equestria. He wondered if their world was experiencing similar issues or if they were aware of what had happened. Sakura noticed Naruto's distant expression and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. Don't worry, Naruto. We'll figure this out. You've already done so much and we're here to help. Naruto nodded, appreciating the support. Thanks, Sakura. I just hope we can find a way to fix this and get everyone back. The group's investigation eventually led them to a secluded area of the village where the magical energy seemed to be concentrated. They discovered an ancient seal inscribed with arcane symbols, partially activated and emanating a powerful aura. This seal might be the source of the disturbances, Kakashi said, examining the seal closely. It's possible that it's been triggered or tampered with, causing the disruptions we've been experiencing. Naruto examined the seal, recalling some of the magical knowledge he had gained during his time in Equestria. I've seen similar seals before. It might require a specific ritual or incantation to reverse it. Kakashi nodded in agreement. We'll need to gather information on the seal and its properties. It might also be worth reaching out to any experts on magical seals or artifacts for assistance. As they worked together to understand and reverse the seal, Naruto felt a renewed sense of purpose. Despite the challenges and uncertainties, he was determined to restore balance to Konoha and ensure the safety of his friends and village. With his friends by his side and a newfound understanding of magical disturbances, Naruto was ready to face whatever obstacles lay ahead. The journey to set things right had only just begun, and he was prepared to fight for the future of his world and the bonds he cherished. Naruto and his team worked tirelessly over the next few days, trying to understand the complex seal they had discovered and how to reverse its effects. The ancient seal was proving difficult to decipher, its magic more intricate than they had anticipated. The once vibrant Konoha remained eerily silent, with the absence of villagers weighing heavily on everyone. In a makeshift command center set up in the Hokage's office, the team huddled around maps and magical texts, seeking clues that could lead them to a solution. Kakashi and Sakura focused on decoding the seal, while Naruto and Sasuke investigated potential sources of the magical disturbance. Are we getting any closer to understanding this seal? Naruto asked, glancing at the symbols on the parchment. The intricate patterns seemed to blur together after hours of study. Sakura looked up, her expression determined. We've made some progress, but it's still challenging. The seal seems to have been activated recently, and it's linked to a powerful magical force. We need to identify what triggered it. Kakashi nodded thoughtfully. The fact that the seal is partially activated means that someone or something must have been trying to manipulate it. We should consider the possibility of an external influence. Naruto's mind raced. Could it be that someone from the outside is behind this? Maybe a rogue ninja or an unknown magical entity. Sasuke, who had been studying a different set of documents, spoke up. It's possible. We should look into any recent anomalies or reports of suspicious activity. There might be a clue that can lead us to the person or entity responsible. As the team continued their investigation, they encountered an unexpected visitor. An old friend, Jiraiya, arrived in Konoha, his expression serious. I heard about the disturbances and came to see if I could help. What's the situation? Naruto welcomed Jiraiya with a mix of relief and concern. Jiraiya. We've been trying to figure out what's causing the disturbances and how to reverse them. We found an ancient seal, but it's proving difficult to manage. Jiraiya took a look at the seal, his eyes narrowing in thought. This is indeed a powerful seal. It's not something you encounter every day. I've seen similar seals before, but the magical energy here is unusually intense. Kakashi nodded. We suspect that someone might be behind the activation of this seal. We need to find out who and why. Jiraiya rubbed his chin, considering the situation. I might be able to help with that. There's an old legend about a dark sorcerer who sought to disrupt the balance of the world. If someone is trying to recreate his work, it could explain the disturbances. Naruto's eyes widened. A dark sorcerer? Do you think he's involved? Jiraiya nodded. It's a possibility. If this sorcerer's legacy is being used, it could be a major threat. We need to gather more information and investigate any leads we can find. With Jiraiya's assistance, the team intensified their search for clues. They reviewed old records and spoke with experts on magical history, hoping to uncover more about the dark sorcerer and his connection to the seal. One night, as they were examining a set of ancient scrolls, Kakashi found a reference to a hidden location where the dark sorcerer was rumored to have conducted his experiments. There's a place mentioned in these texts, a hidden chamber deep within the mountains. It might be where the sorcerer's legacy is being manipulated. Naruto's eyes lit up with determination. We need to check it out. If the chamber holds the key to what's happening, it could lead us to the answers we're looking for. The team prepared for their journey to the mountains, knowing that they might be facing a dangerous and unknown threat. They gathered supplies and set out, guided by the coordinates from the scrolls. The trek to the hidden chamber was arduous. The mountains were steep and treacherous, with dense fog and rocky paths, making the journey challenging. Despite the difficulties, the team pressed on, driven by their resolve to uncover the truth. After hours of climbing and navigating through the rugged terrain, they reached a concealed entrance to a cave. The entrance was partially hidden by overgrown vegetation and rocky outcroppings, but the markings on the stone matched those described in the scrolls. This must be it, Jiraiya said, his tone filled with anticipation. The entrance to the dark sorcerer's hidden chamber. Naruto took a deep breath, feeling a surge of both excitement and apprehension. Let's go. We need to find out what's inside and stop whatever is causing these disturbances. The team entered the cave, their path illuminated by the light of their torches. The air inside was cool and musty, with an aura of ancient magic lingering. They proceeded cautiously, their senses alert for any signs of danger. As they ventured deeper into the cave, they encountered a series of traps and magical wards designed to protect the chamber. The team worked together to bypass these obstacles, using their skills and knowledge to navigate the challenges. Eventually, they reached the heart of the chamber. The room was vast and filled with dark, swirling magical energy. At its center stood an ominous altar, adorned with ancient symbols and surrounded by arcane artifacts. Standing near the altar was a figure cloaked in shadows, a dark sorcerer, his presence exuding an aura of malevolence. His eyes glowed with a sinister light as he began to chant an incantation, the energy around him intensifying. "You're too late," the sorcerer's voice echoed through the chamber. "The seal is already in place. The balance of the worlds will be disrupted, and your efforts will be in vain." Naruto and his team readied themselves for confrontation, their resolve unshaken. They knew that stopping the sorcerer and neutralizing the magical disturbances was their only chance to restore order to Konoha and protect their world. With a fierce determination, Naruto stepped forward, ready to face the dark sorcerer and confront the hidden threat that had caused so much chaos. The battle for the future of their world was about to begin. The dark sorcerer's chant grew louder, the magical energy around him swirling into a tempest of shadows and light. Naruto and his team stood their ground, their faces set with determination as they prepared for the imminent battle. The chamber's oppressive atmosphere seemed to pulse with the sorcerer's dark magic. "Stop the ritual!" Naruto shouted, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We're not letting you disrupt the balance of our world." The sorcerer's eyes, glowing with a sinister light, turned to face Naruto and his team. "You think you can stop me? The power of the Eclipse amulet is mine to control. Your world is merely a pawn in my grand design." As the sorcerer raised his arms, dark energy surged toward him, amplifying the protective barrier around the altar. Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, and Jiraiya sprang into action, each utilizing their unique abilities to counter the sorcerer's magic. Sasuke launched a series of precise shurikens imbued with lightning chakra, aiming to disrupt the sorcerer's spellcasting. The shurikens crackled with energy as they soared through the air, but the sorcerer deflected them with a wave of his hand, dark shields forming to block the attack. Jiraiya, focusing his own chakra, began forming a series of intricate seals. "We need to break through his defenses. I'll use my sage mode to create an opening." Naruto, channeling his chakra, summoned a swarm of shadow clones to engage the sorcerer directly. The clones surrounded the sorcerer, attacking from multiple angles in a coordinated assault. The sorcerer's dark magic lashed out at the clones, creating explosions of energy that sent them scattering. Sakura, drawing on her inner strength, activated her super strength and began smashing through the magical wards protecting the altar. She struck with precision, her blows reverberating through the chamber and weakening the sorcerer's defenses. The sorcerer's expression shifted to one of frustration as his spells were disrupted by the combined efforts of Naruto's team. He raised his staff, channeling a massive surge of dark energy that erupted into a wave of destructive force. The energy crackled and roared as it surged toward Naruto and his allies. Naruto leaped into action, using his Rasengan to counter the wave of dark energy. The collision of their powers created a blinding explosion, sending shockwaves through the chamber. The force of the impact pushed everyone back, and the chamber shook with the intensity of the battle. Jiraiya, in Sage mode, took advantage of the chaos to launch a powerful attack. He summoned a massive toad that charged at the sorcerer, its enormous size and strength creating a formidable threat. The sorcerer was momentarily taken aback by the toad's assault, struggling to maintain control over his dark magic. Sasuke, seizing the opportunity, unleashed his Chidori, a concentrated bolt of lightning aimed directly at the sorcerer. The lightning surged through the air, striking the sorcerer's magical barrier and causing it to crackle and weaken. Sakura continued her assault on the magical wards, each strike bringing them closer to breaking the barrier around the altar. Sweat dripped down her face as she exerted her strength, determined to reach the source of the sorcerer's power. The sorcerer, realizing that his defenses were faltering, roared in anger and summoned a vortex of dark energy. The vortex expanded rapidly, threatening to engulf the entire chamber in its swirling darkness. "We need to finish this quickly," Naruto shouted, his voice filled with urgency. "If the vortex consumes the chamber, we'll be trapped." Jiraiya, using his Sage mode to its fullest extent, focused his chakra and performed a powerful sealing jutsu. The jutsu created a series of bright, intricate symbols that began to counteract the vortex of dark energy, pushing it back and stabilizing the chamber. Naruto, drawing on his inner strength and the power of his Kurama chakra, charged forward with a Rasengan of immense size. He focused all of his energy into the attack, aiming directly at the sorcerer. The Rasengan roared with energy as it collided with the sorcerer's dark magic, creating a massive explosion that illuminated the chamber. The blast was overwhelming, the light and energy surging through the chamber and disrupting the sorcerer's control. As the explosion subsided, the sorcerer staggered, his dark magic dissipating. The vortex of dark energy collapsed, and the chamber fell into a heavy silence. Naruto, his breath ragged, approached the sorcerer, who was now weakened and disoriented. "It's over," Naruto said, his voice firm. "Your plans to disrupt the balance are finished." The sorcerer glared at Naruto, his eyes filled with malice. "You may have won this battle, but there are always forces that seek to undermine the balance. This is not the end." But the final burst of dark energy, the sorcerer vanished, leaving behind a lingering aura of malevolence. The chamber slowly began to return to its previous state, the magical disturbances subsiding as the sorcerer's influence faded. Exhausted but victorious, Naruto and his team regrouped, their faces reflecting a mix of relief and determination. The chamber was now quiet, the threat neutralized, and the balance of the world slowly beginning to restore. "We did it," Sakura said, her voice weary but relieved. "We stopped the sorcerer and prevented further disruptions." Jiraiya nodded, a sense of pride in his eyes. "You all fought well. The battle was tough, but you showed great strength and teamwork." Sasuke, though still focused, offered a rare smile. "The seal should be less problematic now. We'll need to monitor the situation and make sure the disturbances are fully resolved." Naruto looked around the chamber, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "We couldn't have done it without each other. Thanks for sticking together and fighting through this." As they left the hidden chamber and made their way back to Konoha, Naruto reflected on the journey and the challenges they had faced. The battle had been fierce, but the strength of their bonds and their unwavering resolve had seen them through. Back in the village, the atmosphere began to change. The silence that had pervaded Konoha was gradually replaced by the sounds of returning villagers and the familiar hustle and bustle. The balance of the world was beginning to restore, and the threat of the dark sorcerer had been vanquished. Naruto and his team stood together, watching as their village came back to life. The experience had tested their limits, but it had also forged their resolve and strengthened their friendships. With a renewed sense of purpose and the village slowly returning to normal, Naruto knew that they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The journey had been arduous, but the bonds they had formed and the lessons they had learned would guide them through the future. As they looked toward the horizon, Naruto felt a deep sense of hope and determination. The world was full of possibilities, and with his friends by his side, he was ready to face whatever came next. The return to Konoha marked the beginning of a new chapter for Naruto and his team. The village was buzzing with activity as its residents resumed their daily lives, and the lingering effects of the dark sorcerer's influence began to wane. The Hokage's office, now bustling with reports and updates, became the focal point for restoring order and ensuring the safety of the village. Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, and Jiraiya gathered in the Hokage's office to discuss their next steps. The office was cluttered with maps, scrolls, and magical artifacts collected during their recent mission. Tsunade, the Hokage, sat behind her desk, reviewing documents and looking over at the team with a thoughtful expression. "Good work, everyone," Tsunade said, her voice carrying a tone of genuine appreciation. "You've managed to stop a serious threat and restore some semblance of normalcy to the village. However, we need to remain vigilant. The sorcerer's departure doesn't necessarily mean that the threat has completely vanished." Naruto nodded, his eyes determined. "We'll keep an eye out for any further disturbances. But there's something else that's been on my mind." Tsunade raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" Naruto took a deep breath. "During our battle with the sorcerer, I felt like there was something familiar about his magic. It was almost as if it resonated with something I've encountered before. I think there might be more to this than just the sorcerer himself." Sakura glanced at Naruto, her concern evident. "What do you mean? Are you suggesting that there could be more hidden threats?" "I'm not sure," Naruto admitted. "But I think we need to investigate further. If the sorcerer was connected to something from the past, it might help us understand his motives and prevent future threats." Jiraiya, who had been listening intently, nodded in agreement. "There might be some historical records or ancient texts that could shed light on this situation. It's worth looking into the history of dark magic and its practitioners." Tsunade agreed. "Very well. We'll make arrangements to access the archives and consult with experts on magical history. In the meantime, take some time to recover and prepare for the next phase of your investigation." As the team left the Hokage's office, they made their way to the village's archives. The archives were a vast repository of knowledge, housing scrolls, texts, and artifacts from various eras. The air inside was cool and musty, filled with the scent of old parchment and ink. Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, and Jiraiya began their search through the archives, focusing on texts related to dark magic and ancient sorcery. They pored over old scrolls and manuscripts, seeking any mention of the dark sorcerer or similar magical disturbances. Hours passed as they sifted through the records, but their efforts were not in vain. They discovered a collection of ancient scrolls that detailed the history of dark sorcery and its practitioners. Among the texts was a record of a powerful sorcerer from centuries past, known for his attempts to disrupt the balance of the world. "This scroll might hold some answers," Jiraiya said, examining one of the ancient texts. "It describes the rise and fall of a sorcerer who sought to harness the power of the eclipse amulet, similar to what we encountered." Naruto leaned in, his curiosity piqued. "What does it say about him?" Jiraiya read aloud from the scroll. "The sorcerer, known as Kurazai, was a formidable practitioner of dark magic. He sought to use the eclipse amulet to merge the realms of the living and the dead, creating a world under his control. He was ultimately defeated by a coalition of powerful mages and warriors who sealed his power away." Sakura frowned. "So, it's possible that the sorcerer we faced was somehow connected to Kurazai's legacy." "It's likely," Jiraiya agreed. "If someone is trying to continue Kurazai's work, they might be seeking to unlock the sealed power and complete his plans." Sasuke, who had been silent, spoke up. "If that's the case, we need to find out who is behind this and what their ultimate goal is. We should look into any recent activities or groups that might be connected to dark magic." Naruto nodded. "Agreed. We need to find more information and determine if there are any other threats we need to be aware of." As they continued their research, they discovered references to a secretive organization that had been rumored to be involved in dark magic and forbidden practices. The organization, known as the Shadow Syndicate, had been operating in the shadows, gathering power and seeking to exploit ancient sorcery for their own ends. "The Shadow Syndicate," Jiraiya said, his expression serious. "They're known for their involvement in forbidden magic and their desire to disrupt the balance of the world. If they're connected to the dark sorcerer we encountered, they could be planning something even more dangerous." Naruto felt a surge of determination. "We need to find them and stop their plans before it's too late." The team began their preparations for the next phase of their investigation. They gathered information on the Shadow Syndicate and their activities, seeking any leads that could guide them to their hidden lair. The task ahead was daunting, but the stakes were high and they were determined to see it through. As the sun set over Konoha, Naruto and his team knew that their journey was far from over. The echoes of the past had revealed new threats, and the fight to protect their world was just beginning. With their resolve strengthened and their bonds of friendship fortified, they prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The path ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. They would confront the darkness together and fight to safeguard the balance of their world. The moon hung high in the sky, casting a silvery glow over the village of Konoha as Naruto and his team prepared for their next mission. They had gathered in a secluded area outside the village, where they would make their plans to track down the Shadow Syndicate. The stakes were high, and every detail of their plan needed to be meticulous. Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, and Jiraiya stood in a circle, each of them deep in thought. They had uncovered significant information about the Shadow Syndicate, including rumors of their hidden stronghold and their recent activities. Their goal was to infiltrate the stronghold and gather intelligence that could lead them to the heart of the Syndicate's operations. "We've identified a few potential locations where the Syndicate might be operating," Jiraiya said, spreading a map across a flat surface. "There are several old, abandoned buildings and ruins that could serve as their hideouts." Sasuke, studying the map intently, pointed to a particular location. "This one is our best bet. It's remote, well hidden, and has a history of being used for dark rituals." Naruto nodded in agreement. "Then that's where we'll start. We'll need to be careful and move quietly. We don't know what kind of defenses or traps they might have set up." Sakura, her eyes sharp with focus, added, "We should also consider that the Syndicate might have more magical wards or enchantments in place. We need to be prepared for anything." The team began their preparations, ensuring they had all the necessary equipment and supplies for their mission. They equipped themselves with stealth gear, chakra-enhancing tools, and protective jutsus. Their resolve was unwavering, they knew the importance of their mission and the potential dangers they faced. As night fell, they set out, traveling under the cover of darkness. The journey to the suspected location was arduous, with dense forests and treacherous terrain posing constant challenges. The moonlight provided just enough illumination to navigate, casting eerie shadows that seemed to shift with every step. Hours later, they reached the outskirts of the hidden stronghold. The area was shrouded in darkness, with only the faintest glimmers of light visible from within. Naruto signaled for the team to stop, and they gathered in a concealed position to survey the area. The stronghold appeared to be an ancient fortress, its crumbling walls and overgrown vegetation, lending it an air of foreboding. Naruto could sense the remnants of dark magic lingering in the air, a tangible reminder of the threat they faced. "Let's proceed with caution," Jiraiya whispered. "We don't want to alert them to our presence." The team moved stealthily, using their skills to bypass the outer defenses of the stronghold. Sakura used her chakra-enhanced strength to silently dismantle obstacles, while Sasuke's Sharingan allowed him to detect and avoid traps. As they approached the entrance, they encountered a magical barrier, its shimmering surface pulsing with dark energy. The barrier was a formidable obstacle, but Naruto and Sasuke worked together to find a way through. Sasuke's Sharingan enabled him to decipher the barrier's pattern, while Naruto used his Rasengan to disrupt its flow. With a burst of energy, they created a gap in the barrier and slipped inside. The interior of the stronghold was dimly lit, with shadows dancing along the walls. The atmosphere was heavy with a sense of malevolence, and the air was thick with the scent of decay. They moved carefully through the corridors, their senses heightened as they searched for any signs of the Syndicate's presence. The stronghold's architecture was ancient and labyrinthine, with twisting passageways and hidden chambers. As they explored deeper into the stronghold, they came across a large chamber filled with dark artifacts and magical relics. The room was dominated by an altar at its center, and dark energy pulsed from it, resonating with the same malevolent force they had encountered before. "This must be their main ritual chamber," Jiraiya said, his voice low and tense. "We need to find any documents or clues that could tell us more about their plans." Naruto and Sakura began searching the chamber, examining the various artifacts and scrolls scattered around. Sasuke kept a watchful eye on their surroundings, ready to respond to any potential threats. Among the artifacts, they discovered a series of ancient scrolls that detailed the Syndicate's objectives. The scrolls spoke of a ritual to harness the power of the Eclipse amulet, not just to merge realms, but to awaken an ancient and malevolent force that could bring about untold destruction. "This is worse than we thought," Sakura said, her voice filled with concern. "They're planning to awaken an ancient entity. If they succeed, it could mean the end of everything." Jiraiya's face grew serious as he read through the scrolls. "We need to stop this ritual at all costs. If they complete it, the consequences will be catastrophic." Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed through the corridors. The team tensed, recognizing the approach of the Syndicate's members. They had been discovered. "Hide," Naruto whispered urgently. The team quickly found cover as a group of robed figures entered the chamber. The figures spoke in low, ominous tones, discussing the progress of their ritual and the need to prepare for the final stage. Naruto and his team listened intently, gathering information about the ritual's timing and the roles of the individuals involved. They learned that the ritual was set to be completed soon and that the final incantation would require the Eclipse amulet to be activated at a specific time. "We don't have much time," Sasuke said, his voice grim. "We need to disrupt the ritual and retrieve the amulet before it's too late." As the robed figures prepared for the ritual, Naruto and his team formulated a plan. They would need to act quickly and decisively to thwart the Syndicate's plans and prevent the awakening of the ancient force. With their plan in place, they prepared to confront the Syndicate and put an end to their dark machinations. The battle ahead would be fierce, but they were ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. The fate of their world depended on their success. As they moved to execute their plan, Naruto felt a surge of determination. The stakes had never been higher, but with his friends by his side and their resolve unwavering, he was prepared to face the shadows of the past and fight for the future of their world. The chamber's atmosphere grew more charged as the robed figures continued their preparations. The air was thick with dark energy, and the flickering torches cast eerie shadows on the ancient stone walls. Naruto and his team, hidden in the recesses of the chamber, watched closely as the ritual commenced. Jiraiya studied the ritual setup, noting the intricate patterns and symbols etched into the ground around the altar. The ritual was designed to channel and amplify the dark energy of the eclipse amulet. The amulet, resting ominously on the altar, pulsed with an otherworldly glow, casting a sickly light across the chamber. "This is it," Jiraiya whispered, his voice heavy with tension. "We need to stop them before they complete the ritual." Naruto nodded, his eyes determined. "Let's take them by surprise and secure the amulet." Sasuke and Sakura prepared their jutsus, their expressions focused. The team had devised a plan to disrupt the ritual by neutralizing the robed figures and seizing the amulet. Their strategy involved creating a diversion to draw the Syndicate's attention away from the altar. As the ritual leaders began chanting, the air crackled with dark magic. The robed figures chanted in a language that seemed to echo with ancient malice. The symbols on the ground began to glow, and the amulet's light grew brighter, indicating that the ritual was reaching its climax. Naruto took a deep breath, his chakra flaring as he prepared to execute their plan. With a sudden burst of speed, he dashed out of hiding, using his shadow clone jutsu to create multiple copies of himself. The clones charged at the robed figures, creating chaos and drawing their attention away from the altar. The robed figures reacted with alarm, their chants faltering as they tried to fend off the clones. Sakura and Sasuke seized the opportunity, launching a coordinated attack. Sakura used her strength to smash through the barriers surrounding the ritual, while Sasuke used his Chidori to incapacitate the Syndicate members. The chamber erupted into a chaotic battle. Naruto, with his clones providing cover, made his way toward the altar. His focus was on the eclipse amulet, which was now surrounded by a shimmering barrier. The barrier pulsed with dark energy, making it difficult to approach. Sasuke joined Naruto at the altar, using his Sharingan to decipher the barrier's enchantments. "We need to disrupt the barrier's source," Sasuke said, his eyes scanning the symbols. "There must be a way to weaken it." Naruto nodded, forming a series of hand seals. He channeled his chakra into a Rasengan and directed it at the barrier. The energy of the Rasengan collided with the barrier, causing it to flicker and waver. As the barrier weakened, Naruto and Sasuke worked together to break through it. The amulet's light grew dimmer, and the energy within the chamber began to fluctuate. The ritual leaders, realizing that their plans were in jeopardy, attempted to regain control. Naruto reached the altar and grabbed the eclipse amulet, his hands trembling as he felt its dark power. The amulet's energy surged through him, but he focused on resisting its influence. The moment he touched it, the amulet's dark glow intensified, and the chamber shook with a violent tremor. "We need to get out of here," Jiraiya shouted, his voice rising above the chaos. "The ritual is destabilizing." The team regrouped and began their retreat, navigating through the collapsing chamber. The once stable walls were now crumbling, and the floor trembled as dark energy surged through the stronghold. Sakura used her strength to clear a path, while Sasuke and Naruto worked together to fend off any remaining Syndicate members. Jiraiya created a protective barrier to shield them from falling debris and attacks. As they made their way out, Naruto glanced back at the altar, where the ritual's remnants flickered with dying energy. The eclipse amulet was now in their possession, but the damage caused by the disrupted ritual had left the stronghold in ruins. The team emerged from the stronghold just as dawn began to break. The first light of morning illuminated the devastation left behind, and the stronghold's ancient stones lay scattered among the debris. The battle had been fierce, but they had succeeded in thwarting the Syndicate's plans. Breathing heavily, Naruto looked at his teammates. "We did it. We stopped the ritual and got the amulet." Jiraiya nodded, his expression one of relief and concern. "Yes, but this is far from over. The Syndicate will regroup, and there may be other threats we haven't uncovered yet." Sakura, looking exhausted but resolute, added, "We need to secure the amulet and ensure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. It's too dangerous to keep unprotected." Naruto agreed. "We should take it back to the village and consult with Tsunade. We need to find a safe place for it and figure out what to do next." The team made their way back to Konoha, carrying the eclipse amulet with them. The journey was quiet, the weight of their victory and the dangers that lay ahead settling heavily upon them. Upon their return to the village, they were greeted with concern and relief. Tsunade listened intently as they recounted the events of their mission, her expression serious as she examined the amulet. "This is a powerful and dangerous artifact," Tsunade said, her voice firm. We will need to consult with experts and find a secure location to store it. For now, you've done well to prevent a catastrophic event." Naruto and his team felt a sense of accomplishment, but they also knew that their journey was far from over. The Shadow Syndicate was still out there, and the threat of dark magic remained. They would need to stay vigilant and continue their fight to protect their world. As they prepared to rest and recover, Naruto couldn't help but reflect on the events that had transpired. The battle against the Syndicate had tested their limits and revealed new challenges. But with their strength, unity, and determination, they were ready to face whatever came next. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. They would stand together and fight against the shadows, no matter the cost. The journey ahead would be difficult, but they were prepared to face it with courage and resolve. The sun rose over Konoha, casting a warm and hopeful light across the village. The recent battle had left its mark, but the spirit of the villagers remained unshaken. Naruto and his team were honored for their bravery, and the village began to recover from the recent turmoil. As the team gathered in Tsunade's office to debrief and discuss their next steps, the atmosphere was a mix of relief and anticipation. The Eclipse amulet had been safely secured in a highly guarded vault, and experts were being consulted to ensure it remained protected from any future threats. Tsunade looked at the team with a mixture of pride and concern. "You've done an outstanding job. The immediate threat has been neutralized, but we need to remain vigilant. The Shadow Syndicate won't disappear easily, and there may be more dangers ahead." Naruto nodded, his expression serious. "We're ready to face whatever comes next. But we need to understand more about the Syndicate's plans and their motives. There must be more to their agenda." Jiraiya, who had been studying ancient texts related to dark magic, spoke up. "I've found some interesting information. It appears that the Shadow Syndicate is not just a single entity, but a part of a larger network of dark sorcerers. Their goal is to unleash chaos and seize control of powerful artifacts." Sakura frowned. "So, they're part of a bigger threat. What can we do to stop them?" "We need to investigate further and gather as much intelligence as possible," Jiraiya explained. "There might be other hidden factions or individuals involved. We should also look into any historical records or prophecies that might provide insights into their plans." Sasuke, who had been quiet, added, "We should consider reaching out to other villages and forming alliances. The threat is larger than just Konoha, and we need all the help we can get." Tsunade agreed. "We'll start by coordinating with the other villages and sharing information. Additionally, we should prepare for any potential attacks and reinforce our defenses." As the team made their plans, Naruto took a moment to reflect on the journey they had undertaken. The battles they had fought and the challenges they had faced had strengthened their bond and deepened their resolve. They had proven themselves capable of confronting even the darkest of threats. The days that followed were filled with preparations and strategic meetings. Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, and Jiraiya worked tirelessly to gather information, reinforce alliances, and ensure the village's readiness for any future threats. One evening, as Naruto walked through the village, he noticed the bustling activity and the resilience of the villagers. Despite the recent danger, the village was recovering, and life was returning to normal. The support of the villagers and the strength of his friends gave him hope for the future. Naruto met with his team at a local cafe, where they discussed their progress and next steps. The conversation was filled with a mix of determination and camaraderie. Sakura, sipping her tea, spoke up. "We've made good progress, but we need to stay focused. The Syndicate is still out there, and we can't afford to let our guard down." Sasuke nodded in agreement. "We should continue to strengthen our skills and gather more information. The more prepared we are, the better chance we have of dealing with any threats that arise." Jiraiya smiled, looking at the young ninjas with a sense of pride. "You've come a long way. Your growth and dedication are impressive. Just remember that you're not alone in this fight. The strength of our allies will be crucial." Naruto's eyes shone with determination. "We'll face whatever challenges come our way. We've overcome so much already, and we won't stop until we've secured our world." As the team continued their preparations, a sense of unity and purpose guided them. They knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but they were ready to face them together. The fight against the Shadow Syndicate was just beginning, and they were prepared to confront the darkness head-on. The village of Konoha stood as a beacon of hope and strength, and Naruto and his team were determined to protect it. With their resolve unwavering and their bond strengthened, they faced the future with courage and anticipation. The dawn of a new challenge was upon them, and they were ready to rise to the occasion. The journey ahead would be arduous, but they were united in their mission to safeguard their world and ensure that the shadows of the past would not threaten their future. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.